Hello Team FD and welcome back to Winners and Losers, where we break down the latest and greatest Premier League action. This is part 3. The trilogy ends here this week. We started with Liverpool. We went on to Lisandro Martinez. We are now finishing with Miguel Almiron because the Paraguayan is on fire. Jack Grealish in the mud. Let's look at the numbers behind his rise to prominence, Zach. Now, after just 1 goal in his first 7 Premier League games, he now has 6 in his last 6. And there's some absolute worldies in there. Saying that, does have an expected goals of 4.3, so not wildly outperforming his underlying numbers. This shakes out to 0.58 goals per 90. Now, that's over 10 times as potent as last season.
Wow.
He scored 1 in 19 starts. So it's already, somewhat predictably, his highest scoring return on English shores, which stood at 4 goals prior to this season. And he's 6 away from making it his most productive campaign in front of goal ever, which, of course, was with Atlanta in the MLS, which is obviously not the same sort of level, but he is rising to the challenge. Zach, how does this stack up to some of his peers in the Premier League?
Yeah, I've always been a big fan of Almiron. I think, especially when he first came over, I liked the fact that someone from the MLS was getting a chance over in the Premier League. And for a while, it didn't seem like it was working out. But this season, he is a new man. He's got the 12th best record in the division in terms of goals per 90. However, there are only 2 players who have played more minutes and contributed at a greater rate. One of them is Harry Kane and the other is Ivan Toney. Not too bad for England coming with the World Cup. He's played 1,085 minutes already this season, and once you take goalkeepers out of the equation, that leaves him in the top 20 in the Premier League this campaign.
So he's been there.
He has.
Been there every gosh darn minute.
He has. Eddie Howe has been trusting him. And he's also doing his defensive work in this time as well, which is something that I'm sure Eddie Howe is making sure of.
Yeah.
He's top 8% of forwards across Europe's top 5 leagues for tackles per 90. He's also top 17% for clearances as well. Now, the question we have left for us is, should Newcastle still look to upgrade him as well? They were obviously very, very interested in Maddison making public bids for him. Obviously, Alan St-Maximin is yet to return as well. And Isaac is still out. So if they were all fit, those two, and maybe they do get Maddison in, personally, I'm not too sure whether he's in that starting line.
Yeah.
What about you?
The forward line could look very different if they're all fit. I get what you're saying. So what we're basically got to arrive at is, has he made himself undroppable? Which is not a debate I thought I'd be having at the start of the campaign. But, I mean, there is still scope to upgrade that right-hand flank. He's obviously playing out of his skin. A lot of his numbers are bang average, though, if we look beyond the hyperbole, beyond the amazing finishes, which I'm aware I sound a little bit like a killjoy at the moment, but his progressive passes are pretty league average, worse than, his dribbles completed, bottom 24% of wingers across Europe's top 5 leagues. His touches in the attacking penalty area, not great, not been very probing. He doesn't pick it up in grey areas. What he is doing now is being ruthlessly efficient, and he would have to sustain this output across the course of the season, not to be replaced by one of those aforementioned names, because like you can't drop Callum Wilson. He's your goal scorer. St-Maximin could probably play on the left or right, and he is one of the best midfielders in terms of some of those categories, those aforementioned categories, going in the Premier League. And Isaac costs, 60? 70 mil, so he's going to have to play as well.
I know football is very frantic, and stories always change about players constantly. However, if you look at Almiron's history, I think it's going to come back to him being there. And I think it's going to be absolutely, especially if Newcastle
he's going to revert to type.
Yeah, and I don't think it's a bad thing.
Miserable.
I know.
Sausage.
But if Newcastle are looking to get into the top 6 or even the Champions League, maybe they're going to probably want to upgrade on him, and he'll be a fine backup. And with the way games work and injuries work, I'm sure he'll get enough minutes where he'll be happy with. But yeah, if Newcastle are looking to go further, you do upgrade on Almiron.
And it is difficult to make these decisions. And because Newcastle obviously have such punchy aspirations, you kind of have to address that a little bit quicker than you otherwise would. Like Almiron in a middling Premier League team has probably done enough to earn that.
Of course.
earn that spot for the rest of the season. But if Newcastle get a sniff of European football come January, they might be going back in for Maddison. They might be looking to upgrade, key areas of the pitch. Yeah, of course, linked with Moussa Diaby of Leverkusen as well. Some unbelievable names and talent in there. So I mean, it would be sad. It would be really sad. And let's hope his form does continue, because I'm enjoying him, like watching him enjoy himself here.
Yeah.
And there we have it. That is pretty much our breakdown of Miguel Almiron. What do you lot think at home? Can he sustain these numbers? Should Newcastle look to upgrade that area of the pitch, or has he done enough to earn the right to finish the campaign as Newcastle's right winger? But before we wrap up, I wanted to ask you what your favourite redemption arc was from this season, because we've already seen some vintage ones.
Yeah.
And just to get your juices flowing, Iwobi, Tim Ream, Jordan Pickford is now looking like one of the Premier League's best goalkeepers again. Xhaka.
Yeah, those are some good shouts. I think Iwobi I like because it was such a surprise. He's almost the Joe Linton of last season, where he's a guy that was bought for a specific position, actually didn't seem to be that good at that position, been changed into a midfielder. Yeah, and it's been fantastic. Credit to Lampard for them. But and again with Pickford, someone that I've always liked. But the one, that really shocked me, I just didn't see coming. Like the others, you saw the quality at times. I just never thought Tim Ream would be where he is today. I mean, because we've also seen him in the Premier League and it's not quite worked out. And now he's looking fantastic. And fair play, a lot of credit to go to Marco Silva and that defence that he's made. Because there was a point before the window ended where I was looking at Fulham's business and they hadn't done much. And Silva himself was really annoyed by it. And I was like, they could be in trouble here.
Yeah.
And so far, so good.
Yeah, they kind of had the same. The defence had the same makeup as the one that had gone down, right? Adebayo, Tim Ream. I think Tim Ream became the poster boy for past defensive failures, and it was, people said with like a great amount of confidence, not Premier League calibre, but late on in his career, he stepped up to the plate, and I'm absolutely buzzing for him as well. Who was your favourite redemption arc? Because what is your favourite redemption arc, I should say? Let us know in the comments below, and me and Jalab will hit you up. Like this video, subscribe to the channel with notifications on so you don't miss next week's winners and losers. And that's all from us. Goodbye.